On the agenda tonight, we're going back to 1970. We're going to be taking a look at Aretha Franklin, and she's going to be performing Don't Play That Song. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Okay, this is coming from The Cliff Richard Show back in 1970. Strap yourselves in for this one because, I mean, it's Aretha Franklin first of all, but there's a hell of a lot going on. I have isolated the vocal as always. You'll see that on screen, but let's jump into it and see how Aretha gets on.
Aretha Franklin.
Don't play that song for me, 'cause it brings back memories of days that I once knew, of those days that I spent with you. Oh no, don't let it play. Oh no, fill my heart with pain. Please stop it right away. 'Cause I remember just what he said. He said, no, I know that he lied. Yes, he did. I tell you, he lied. Yes, he did. You know he lied. He lied. To me. Hey, mister, oh, don't play it no more. Don't you play it no more. I can't say, don't play it no more. No more. No more. I remember on our first date, he kissed me and he walked away. I was only 17. And I never dreamed that he could be so mean. He told me now, I love you, but let me leave you with Eli. Yes, he did. I tell you that he lied. Oh, yes, he did. You know that he lied. He lied. He lied. Yes, he did. Oh. Don't you play no more. I can't stand it. Don't play it no more. No more. No more. Don't play it no more. Baby, don't play it no more. Can't stand it. Don't play it no more. No more.
And there we have it. That's one of those performances. I mean, even now, because it's such a sudden ending to the video, it's like you need time just to absorb and just take in what's happened. Because sometimes you watch a performance that is just on a totally different level, and you know, you almost can't analyze it because of the expressiveness of the performance, just the vocal quality on show, and Aretha playing the piano. This is another thing that is huge because, you know, being a guitarist myself, you know, first and foremost, I do talk about guitarists who might just focus on playing the guitar and they never learn to sing and just focus at playing the instrument. And then you get other guitarists who do sing, and you've got to work at singing. You've got to practice to do that. So It means you have to break up your time between learning to sing and learning to play the guitar. And then you get Aretha Franklin, who is just playing the hell out of that piano and producing the voice that she has. And this is what I mean about being on a totally different level, that you've got a voice that already is standalone and in a totally different league. But then you pair that with the instrumental ability, and, you know, that's just going to kind of melt your face because there's so much going on that is of such a high standard. And once you take that all into consideration, then to add on top of it not only the expressiveness in the voice, her dynamic appreciation, the way that she changes, going from that lighter sound in the verse into then just fully belting in chest voice, flipping up, you know, into a really clean head voice sound, but also hitting the same notes in her chest voice. She is putting on a performance as well. So this is what I mean, that it's on a totally different level, because you have to take in so many things. When it comes to analysing something like this, you've got to take into consideration the instrumental ability that she could just play a piano and sing, and that's all that's required. Actually, you know, when we go to listening to the isolated vocal, she doesn't even need the piano because the voice is so good. But when you look at how she sings, so now taking all of the technical aspects of playing an instrument, singing at the same time, that doubles the difficulty, look at the way that Aretha engages the audience, but the camera as well, and puts on a show. Another really difficult thing to do when playing piano is to make it engaging and put on a show to not only the people in the audience, but people watching at home. Because unlike with a guitar, you can walk around, you can move, you can use body language, you can go down on your knees if you want to, or put one foot, you know, up on a speaker and all that kind of stuff. You can make it visually engaging. But behind a piano, you can't move around. So it's really difficult to do that. But, I mean, just watch Aretha.
Fill my heart with pain. Please stop right away.
Look at the body language, that she's totally turning away from the piano to engage everybody that's watching. That is such a huge part of it, and something that will go unnoticed because she's so natural at doing it, that you just accept this performance for what it is. But, you know, we're here to look at the details, and this is a huge difference again between somebody who might have a great voice, somebody that might be great at playing the piano, and then they perform facing the piano and don't engage the audience. It's going to make a huge difference, because you don't feel like the story's being told to you. You're just watching somebody telling a story, but it's not really communicating that story to you. Whereas Aretha is making you believe this in everything that she does, the expressiveness of her voice, but the way that she's performing it. And once you appreciate that, this is why it's on a totally different level, because there are so many things going on musically that are just massively impressive, but you roll that all up into performing. Let's just watch on. There's so much in that, because, I mean, watching this, you've got to appreciate that this was on TV, so it's in front of a live studio audience. So she's not only getting people watching on TV into the performance, but she's getting the audience there into what she's talking about. It's engaging everybody at the same time. I'm going to take down the piano just so we can listen to Aretha's voice.
Don't play that song for me, 'cause it brings back memories of days that I once knew.
The intervals there are so good. The A4, and, you know, you'll see this all the time, coming down to the E4, back up to the A4 as well. Just nailing pitch, but doing it in such a way that she's combining vocal phrases with slides and still keeping that storytelling quality to it. All the great singers can do this, where it sounds like a story, but then when you're looking at the notes on the screen, they are just bang on all the time. It's pitch perfect, but it is so relatable as a voice because it has that talking storytelling quality.
All those days that I spent with you. Oh no, don't let me.
I mean, that kind of thing, jumping up to an E5. I mean, that is crazy to be up here, and then the C5. When I say it's crazy, it's because, you know, when we go back here in the verse, you'll see that we came in on an E4, and that's an octave below where Aretha just, you know, throws her voice up an octave higher. This is the other thing, that she never sounds like she's straining to hit high notes. She's just belting them out with loads of feeling and emotion. But then even when she goes higher than the E5, I believe we had a G5 later on in the performance where she then goes into a cleaner head voice sound. So she changes vocal registers to get there. But let's listen to this isolated vocal.
Fill my heart with pain. Please stop right away.
Listen to the difference there when she's going to that please, and suddenly gets light with it after having just belted. That's what I mean, that dynamic appreciation and ability to just change it up all the time.
I remember that's what he said. He said, no.
We have again the E5. Interestingly, with the isolated vocals, because when the harmonies come in, of course, the pitch monitoring software is trying to pick up just one voice and it's hearing lots of them. But you can hear that the backing vocalists have very much more of a head voicey sound. They're not belting it out. And it's interesting because it might be the case that they have to get a bit lighter because these are high notes. So when Aretha goes there, the power that she has, I mean, it really separates her voice from the backing vocalist voices, you know, just really takes your attention. And let me just get the piano up on screen so that we can see the ranges going on here. Actually, I did say earlier on that we had a G5. We'll look out for that throughout the performance, but like I said, you know, we've got some really high notes going on here. The A5, top end of the mezzo-soprano range. The G5 is just a couple of semitones below that, so it would be up here. And, you know, when we go down to the E4 that we started with in the verse, it means that we're down here. So, I mean, it's the way that these notes are being sung. That's the impressive part, because Aretha just kept so much in her chest voice, belting these notes out. So normally you have that change in sound between chest voice and head voice of kind of getting lighter. But with Aretha, she could just, you know, hit you with this solid voice the whole way through her range. But let's continue on.
Don't you play no more.
Like, even there, in the way that she's singing these notes, she's not hitting them dead on. Well, she is when she gets there, but she's sliding. I mean, we can see here just the lines that are, you know, going down by so much because it's just expression, and then she'll just hit a note and express herself and slide down. So again, she's just hitting these notes for a split second in amongst loads of expression and delivering the vocal in such a way that you would do if you were talking. And I mean, to give an example of that, when I'm talking here, like then, and then I went a bit higher in my voice and now I go down, or when I went up. So when you're listening out for pitch in a talking voice, when somebody is telling you a story, that's what happens in their voice. They change pitch. But great singers keep this quality in their voice when they are singing. So they're hitting designated pitches, making it sound like they're talking to you. So this is what I mean. It's amazing to listen to.
I can't say, don't play it no more.
that kind of thing. I don't want to go through this phrase by phrase, but everything is just great. When I say about, it sounds like, you know, she's at the top of her range, potentially, and that she's belting it out, and you think almost like that's her highest note. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Don't play it no more. No more. No more. Oh, oh, oh.
So there, the D5 sounded like, you know, she's right at the top limit, and then she just hits you with an E5 from nowhere.
I remember on our first date.
And then an octave lower instantly, E4. So yeah, I mean, this vocal, if you were to look at this pitch graph just extended, you know, the vocal would be all over it because there's so much range being covered.
He kissed me and he walked away.
I mean, just those little tail off lines as well. I'm going to listen to that again because it's something that, again, great singers and great gospel singers, blues singers, soul singers all have this where they can vibrato but also tail off.
And he walked away.
So there we had way, way. There's that, you know, 3 notes. Walked away. And they happen really quickly. But in this case, Aretha does it while, I mean, it's very high for me because I'm a guy, but she does it with air. Listen.
And he walked away.
So it kind of goes from a note way to air, but you still have the note in the air. This is what, again, I mean, this is just tiny, tiny details, but they are huge, the effect that they have in the expressiveness of the voice and how it communicates, because it's like an exhalation, it's like a disappointment, but with notes within the air. That's the expressiveness of disappointment, of going, ah, and it kind of, it's that kind of expression, but with, ah, but actually having notes in there. So it's great to listen to this. But like I said, we're looking at it in real detail. But this is something that Aretha is just doing naturally. She's not trying to work out how much percentage of air she needs in order to get a note to make it sound airy and full of that expression. She's just doing it naturally. And it's so delicate and it's so precise, because if you have too much air, you go, ah, and no note comes out at the end because your vocal cords have too much of a gap. So you go, ah, and no note comes out, whereas you go, ah. You need that tiny bit of vocal cord connection to get that sound. So anyway, yeah, let's listen on.
I was only 17. None ever dreamed that he could be so mean. He told me now, but let me leave you with Eli. Yes, indeed. I tell you that he lied. Oh, yes, he did. You know that he lied. He lied. Yes, he did.
When I'm saying about the consistency in her voice, I mean, she is all over this E5, this high note. There it is. There's the G5. And look at all of this sliding we've got going on here, combining all of these notes. Again, intervals spot on, E5 and the G5, which I pointed out on the piano earlier. Again, just having the ability to do this gives Aretha just totally different places that she can take her voice. But rather than having more of a belting sound that we've had previously, now the ooh just stands out so much more. And there we have it. I mean, right at the end of it, it's a shame that it cuts out so quickly. And by the way, if you do see any kind of errant lines, such as this one up here, you can hear that even in the isolated track, there are some of the instruments that are still in the mix. So this kind of thing here, yeah, that wasn't a vocal, it just sometimes kicks off. Just going back to that point of being able to hit notes with different sounds, with different vocal registers. I mean, right at the end here, we have a G5 that isn't the head voice G5, it's more of the belting sounding G5, even though technically it's more of a mixed voice, but it's just so full. Have a listen. And there's vibrato in it as well. So, I mean, when you talk about being taken on a journey, this is just the perfect example of that. Because we've started down, you know, in and around E4. We've ended not only at a G5, but at a G5 that is a full-bodied sound. So we've started so low down, over an octave lower, and then gradually through the song, Aretha is taking you through all of this range. So then right at the end of the song, she hits a high note. So, you know, you've reached the peak of that mountain. You've got your crescendo. You know, vocally speaking as well, because of the way that she hits that with such authority. So, yeah, I mean, a fantastic performance here. Just on a totally different level. It's just on a crazy level that you just watch this and think, wow. Anyway, thank you guys for requesting this particular video for me to take a look at. And keep those suggestions and requests coming in the comment section below. As always, let me know what you guys think. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!